These stories are meant to be pondered over. They are not just stories. There is a meaning behind them all. This is the definition for the word ponder. Verb. Think about something carefully, especially before making a decision or reaching a conclusion. I pondered the question of what clothes to wear to the occasion. Synonyms: thinking about, contemplate, consider, review, reflect on, mull over, meditate on, muse on, deliberate about, cognate on, dwell on, brood on, ruminate on, chew over, puzzle over, turn over in one's mind, overthink. She had time to ponder over the incident.
The jeweler and the thief. Well, let's continue with this incredible story. The dragons, when they first saw the youngsters entering the cave many moons ago, weren't interested in the slightest in training man. You see, man was one of their major troubles. There's even a dragon slayer profession in the British Isles. Yet, at that same time, they could see the potential in these youngsters. As a matter of fact, they were more evolved than them when they were young. Back then, the dragons didn't even have a glimmer of light. So, after eternal discussion amongst themselves, do you think we can train them? Do you think they can change? You see, even in China and Tibet, war ruled the land. Anger was the norm. Mind you, these youngsters had a combination of light and darkness. They could see both sides of the coin. So the dragons decided to train them. Now their training wasn't like today. Today, children in school are bored. They are taught to use just memory. They are taught to remember facts. They are not taught to use your mind and think. The dragons are experts in this field. They are the master wizards of Hogwarts today. In fact, they are thousands of years ahead in development. Hogwarts teachers would be in nursery school. The dragons would have an advanced PhD studies in the universe. They were off the charts. The dragons had a unique style of teaching. You could say it was revolutionary today. They taught by using games, play, and fireside chats. The first game they taught was hide and seek. This was a very practical game. They had a series of talks about the universe. They were taught that the universe existed inside of them. Well, to be frank, that was completely over their heads. They couldn't even understand one word. So the dragons played a game of hide and seek. The dragons would hide. The youngsters closed their eyes and counted to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ready or not, here we come. They would open their eyes, and all the dragons were gone. The dragons had rules they couldn't keep the cave. All the kids were completely shocked when they opened their eyes. All the dragons disappeared. They all grasped in surprise. As you know, dragons are quite large. They weigh thousands of pounds. This game went on for around 6 months or so. Finally, at one fireside chat, the dragons told this practical story. Imagine 2 young men walking down the road. They were heading to a town 5 days from their current destination. One of their men was a jeweler. The other man was a thief. The thief knew this man had a very precious jewel that he was carrying. As I said, both of them were going to the same town. They decided to travel together. They had a long journey ahead of them. Hours passed. They were quite tired and exhausted. Fortunately, there was a simple inn ahead of them. They both decided to spend the night there and share a room together. Both of them decided to have dinner together. The jeweler went first, and a few minutes later, the thief joined him. While the jeweler was holding the table for him, the thief was looking all over for the precious jewel. He was quite dumbfounded. He was the greatest thief in the land. They had dinner and went to bed immediately. They weren't in the mood to drink the ale and party into the night. Well, guess what? This went on for several days. They reached their destination. By then, the thief was totally confused. He thought, this is going to be an easy steal. He said to the jeweler, I'm a thief. As a matter of fact, I'm a king of the thieves. I knew you were carrying a precious jewel. Every night, I knew you carried a precious jewel. I knew you hid the jewel inside of the room. Every night, I would search all over for it. I got quite frustrated when I couldn't find it. Where did you put it? I'm dying for an answer. The jeweler said, I knew you were a thief. I knew you wanted to steal the jewel. Every night, I would hide it in a place and you would never look. The thief said, and where is that? The jeweler said, under your own pillow. The thief knew he was outwitted and outsmarted. Well, the kids loved this story. They were well acquainted with thieves and jewelers. They went through their towns quite frequently. The dragon said, let's play a game of hide and seek again. This time, focus on your breath. Close your eyes. To their amazement, the dragons appeared inside of them. They couldn't believe it. How could all the dragons appear to them inside of their being? This was the starting point of their incredible adventures. Now, when they played hide and seek, they knew where to look. A single but necessary step took place. They knew it was both an inward and outward journey. The youngsters were thrilled. Each time they played the game, the youngsters knew where to look. They loved to play this game. All the first-time students had to go through the same baby steps that others went through. You see, this path is 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. You learn from your progress and your mistakes. Never give up.
An old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to the boy. It's a terrible fight, and it's between 2 wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. He continued, the other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed." Once upon a time, there were two twin brothers named Little Ricky and Little Johnny. Little Johnny was a genius in picking up and learning new things, while Little Ricky was what you would call on the slow side. It took him hundreds of tries to learn new things. For example, one Christmas morning, their wonderful parents presented them both with brand new bicycles. Both of them were so excited. Well, they took them outdoors. Little Johnny hopped on his and immediately started riding down the block. Well, Little Ricky didn't have the same luck. In fact, it was kind of funny to see how clumsy he was. He didn't give up. He knew deep down inside he could learn how to ride this. It took him about a month. The first time he realized that he was actually riding the bicycle, he was filled with joy. He was so grateful. I did it. I didn't give up. This incident carried him all throughout his life. Every time he had to learn something new, he remembered the experience of learning how to ride a bike. In fact, years later, his wife said that he learned things so quickly. Little Ricky just smiled. He knew that life taught him such a precious lesson at such a young age. Never give up. Persevere. You can learn anything. It may just take you time. Little Ricky loved ethnic foods. He was brought up since he was born to eat ethnic foods. He absolutely loved them. Yet, he never knew how to cook them. One day in high school, he enrolled in a cooking class. He wanted to learn how to cook. To his amazement, he learned that there was cooking recipes that you can follow to make each dish. A recipe usually has a list of ingredients along with the actual step-by-steps needed to make the dish. He was so excited. From that precious course, he learned hundreds of recipes throughout the years. He took the same concept to his own personal life. He learned how to use spices like kindness and patience in his life. He would sprinkle these on his daily actions. He knew that life was an incredible adventure. He added these precious spices to his everyday affairs. Ponder this over. What spices can you use to enhance your life? Kindness, tolerance, patience, love, and compassion. These are incredible spices that the world loves. Learn how to avoid the spice of anger, being a bully, and fighting. These never are good in the end. They are old habits from the past.
The frog in the well. You are the universe. You just don't know it. This is the central theme of the dragons. They reached the growth of awareness where they became the sun, moon, and stars, and were walking around in dragon bodies. They realized they were eternal. They were beyond time and space. The dragons also knew that humans had the same capability. They were curious about that. The dragons knew that man came from the stars. They were stardust. Yet the village around them, and Tibet and China at that time, had no idea of who they truly are. The dragons were once in the same state of awareness as the humans. They were angry, hateful, worried, and full of greed. Yet over time, they realized their potential. They needed a story that could reflect how large they felt, yet how small in reality they lived in. So, there goes the story. Once upon a time, a frog lived in a well. This frog thought he was a know-it-all. This frog thought the water in my well is the largest in the world. This was in fact quite a large well. The villagers use it for the community. Anyway, this frog bragged a lot and told all the people who were strangers to the well how vast the water is in the well. One day, a stranger came who lived near the ocean. The frog came up to the stranger and said, "The water in my well is far grander than any water in the world." The stranger said, "Well, according to my experience, the water in your well is probably one of the smallest I've ever seen." Well, a fight ensued with the war of words. It was going out of control. Both sides were putting wood on the fire. Finally, they both calmed down. All the villagers came and wondered what was going on. It was quite the scene. Well, the villagers and frogs said to the man, "Can you prove it? Can you show us a place where water is larger than our well?" So to make a long story short, a small group of villagers and the frog traveled to the ocean. They couldn't believe what they saw. An endless body of water everywhere. They were dumbfounded. Never in their world did they see such a precious sight. The stranger laughed and said, "Now, this is a large body of water." The villagers and frogs couldn't agree more. Their well wasn't even a drop of water compared to the ocean. The dragons told this story to the youngsters. They reminded the kids of playing hide and seek and peekaboo. The dragons would appear to them inside. Well, the dragon said, "This is the frog in the well. This is the starting point in your incredible journey of life. Inside of you lies the infinite ocean of love. You have the potential to tap into this. In fact, you are this ocean. This is your true nature. You should see how wide open were the eyes opened from the children. They were completely mesmerized by this story. They weren't just some mumble-jumble words. The dragons were talking about their own personal experience. They were telling the kids that you could ultimately have the same experience. It's a moment-by-moment conscious journey. Baby steps are taken along the way.
When I was young, I heard a story about 3 blind men touching an elephant. Each man touched a different part of the elephant. One touched the elephant's ear, another touched its feet, while the last touched the tusk. They began to discuss their experience and a huge fight began. I'm right and you're wrong. I know all the answers. You're a fool to believe in that. What a child you are. Yet they all had their own individual experience. It was a piece of the puzzle. Not the puzzle itself, but a piece. Are we like the blind man touching the elephant? My religion is better than your religion. I'm going to heaven while you're going to hell. I'm going to declare war on you. I'm going to convert you. Religion has a piece of the puzzle. It is not the puzzle itself. Each religion is different and unique. The essence is the same. Which part of the elephant did you touch? Maybe it's about time to be open to something new. Your enemy is talking about the same thing you are. He just has a different piece, a different point of view. In the end, the essence is the same.
Stop the noise in your head. As the children began to learn how to meditate, they saw how powerful the mind is. They never noticed that before. They asked the dragon how to stop the noise in my head. Of course, all the dragons laughed. They laugh because everyone goes through this. You see, the mind is the most difficult thing to control in the universe. The majority of man reacts to every situation. Man is reacting. The wise man learns to be proactive. They understand the basic law. It's my will alone. I set my mind in motion. Now, that's very easy to say, but hard to do. All people who learn how to meditate in the beginning have this problem. In the East, they call it monkey mind. The monkey goes from one branch to another. It can't be controlled. Well, when they first started to learn how to meditate, they clearly saw this from first-hand experience. The dragons told a wonderful story each time this subject was brought up. They told a story where a man saves a genie. Nobody knows exactly how this man saved him. Well, the genie told this man, you can have as many wishes as you want. The man said, wow, that's incredible. I love that idea. The genie said, well, there's a catch. The man said, well, what's that? You must always give one wish after another. If you don't, I will chop your head off with a sword. Are you sure you want to continue with this? The man hesitates for a moment and says, reluctant, sure. Well, the genie said, what's your first wish? The man gives one wish after another. It seems like when one wish is granted, he has to give another. He didn't even have one opportunity to enjoy, even for a second, the previous wish. He was getting tired and couldn't even go to sleep. The genie was always harassing him and saying, what's your next wish? Well, fortunately, there was a wise man nearby. He went to the wise man and sincerely asked for help. This boon was turning into a curse. The wise man whispered into his ear. Well, the genie demanded another wish, or he would chop off his head. The young man said, go to the forest and find the huge log. Your wish is my command. In a second he returned with the huge log. The genie said with a smile, give me a wish, I will chop off your head. As you can see, the genie wasn't particularly nice. So the young man told the genie to go up and down the pole. When I meet him, I will give you another command. The young man could relax and enjoy all the wishes he gave to the genie. The genie knew he was outsmarted by this wise man. The young boy enjoyed his life and helped others in the community. He eventually learned about the dragon and helped tremendously his fellow man. The dragon said that the genie is the mind. The mind wants to control you versus the other way around. By placing your mind on your breath, the genie will go up and down the log and set you free. Meditation is the key to bring awareness to your mind. The mind is either your friend or foe. Everyone in the universe has to learn how to control the mind.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all? What if we had an actual mirror that exists inside of us? Wouldn't that be an incredible fairy tale? Now, what if I told you that you are the universe? You just don't know it. How's that for a fairy tale? You see, your mirror is dusty. Throughout your life, nobody told you that this mirror exists inside of you. Well, let the fairy tale begin. You can start learning how to clean your precious mirror. You can start by being kind in each and every moment. The more you are kind, the more you will clean your mirror. Learn how to meditate and enjoy the silence inside of you. At first, you may get bored, but the more you practice, the more you are clearing your mirror. Remember, this is play, not work. Cleaning your mirror is like removing huge boulders that you carry around. They weigh you down. Each time you remove a boulder, you get lighter and lighter. You see, you are your own Prince Charming. You have the capability to remove all obstacles inside of you. Now that's a fairy tale. Ponder this over. You are the universe. You just don't know it. This is a beautiful fable by Hans Christian Andersen. It's a beautiful summer day. The sun shines warmly on the old house near a river. Behind the house, a mother duck is sitting on 10 eggs to chick. One by one, all the eggs break open. All except one. This one is the biggest egg of all. Mother duck sits and sits on the big egg. At last it breaks open. The chick. Out jumps the last baby duck. It looks big and strong. It is gray and ugly. The next day, Mother Duck takes all her little ducks to the water. She jumps into it. All her baby ducks jump in. The big ugly duckling jumps in too. They all swim and play together. The ugly duckling swims better than all the other ducklings. Quack, quack. Come with me to the farmyard, says Mother Duck to her baby ducks, and they all follow her there. The farmyard is very noisy. The poor duckling is so unhappy there. The hens pick him, the roosters flies at him, the ducks bite him, the farmer kicks him. At last, one day, he runs away. He comes to a river. He sees many beautiful big birds swimming there. Their feathers are so white, their necks so long, their wings so pretty. The little duckling looks and looks at them. He wants to be with them. He wants to stay and watch them. He knows they are swans. Oh, how he wants to be beautiful like them. Now it is winter. Everything is white with snow. The river is covered with ice. The ugly duckling is very cold and unhappy. Spring comes once again. The sun shines warmly. Everything is fresh and green. One morning, the ugly duckling sees the beautiful swans again. He knows them. He wants so much to swim with them in the river, but he is afraid of them. He wants to die. So he runs into the river. He looks into the water. There, in the water, he sees a beautiful swan. It is he. He is no more an ugly duckling. He is a beautiful white swan. We are all swans. We just don't have the eyes to see. Look inside of your heart. You will see your true nature. The wind and the sun were disputing which was stronger. Suddenly they saw a traveler coming down the road, and the sun said, "I see a way to decide our dispute. Whatever of us can cause the traveler to take off his cloak should be regarded as the stronger. You begin." So the sun retired behind a cloud, and the wind began to blow as hard as it could upon the traveler. But harder he blew, the more closely the traveler wrapped his cloak around him, till at last the wind had to give up in despair. Then the sun came out and shined in all its glory upon the traveler, who soon found it too hot to walk with his cloak on. Kindness affects more than severity. Once upon a time, a wise man was having a conversation with the sun. He told the sun that darkness did not like them. He felt that the sun ruined everything for him. Darkness loves to keep everyone in a state of ignorance. Darkness loves to see humanity bickering and fighting with one another. The sun just loved to shine and give love, kindness, and compassion to all. Well, the sun said to the wise man, "Bring darkness to me, and we can have a wonderful conversation." The wise man said, "I will bring him to you tomorrow." While the sun waited and waited. The next day, darkness never came. He waited for over a month. Darkness never showed up. You see, darkness is only the absence of light. The sun is always shining, so darkness can never appear. Discover the light inside of you. That is your true nature.